Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 6 of season 2 of our F1 2010 career mode. Yes, we return this weekend back for the jewel in the Formula 1 crown. We return to the Monaco Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago from Barcelona, just don't go back and check it out. Once again, it was Spain without the S, but with a completely different reason this time round. On the very last lap, I was running in the points, I was pretty happy with how we were getting on, and then we ran out of fuel. So, unfortunately that meant that we have taken a bit of a hit in the World Championship. Not to Fernando Alonso though, because as I was trying to limp down, he managed to crash into the back of me. So, I guess we'll take it. World Championship wise then, we have still got an 11-point lead at the top of the table. Vitantonio Liuzzi though, up to P3. Force India just genuinely cooking this season. 3rd and 4th right now for Liuzzi and Adrian Sutil there. Ahead of Jenson Button and obviously our Malaysian GP winner Inku Kobayashi. 5 different winners from the opening 5 Grand Prix. And then you can still see the likes of Robert Kubica and Felipe Massa up inside your top 8 as well. Further down the order, Hamilton in 9th. Sebastian Vettel now up to P11. Some of you guys are saying that Seb will still likely mount a championship charge this season, so only time will tell. Constructors-wise, though, Ferrari 4 clear of Force India, who are a further 4 ahead of us. So at least the Constructors' Championship is looking like quite a close-knit fight as well at this early stage of the season. Of course, if you're new and you're not already, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel as well. We are making good progress towards 3k subs as well. And again, a massive thank you to everybody that is obviously enjoying this series as well. But yeah, without further ado then, I want to try and get redemption, because last season here we were on for a podium until I lost the wing with about 5 laps to go. So we've got the pace to do well. I want to try and win today. Returning then to these most famous of Formula 1 streets, of course, in a Silver Arrow car as well. Rather special feeling. So far though, this weekend, of course, Monaco normally on the modern games, I really look forward to. Not quite sure how I feel about them still on F1 2010. Just because around here you've got to avoid so much stuff. Got to avoid basically every curb. There's a lot of bumps as well that can really punish you. So, obviously, yeah, trying to be consistent in the race is rather tricky as... Well, Jarno Trulli, that is definitely not the correct way out of the pit lane there, sir, but we're around him anyway, so hopefully he's not going to hold me up. There's obviously, yeah, trying to find your way around 24 cars, of course, in Q1. There is plenty of traffic to contend with around these Monte Carlo streets, as you can see, just bumpy. Well, the car is with this, obviously, suspension. Don't hit the wall. Don't damage the wing. That's the big first goal. And just steadily build up the speed. It's even bumpy through like the inside of Tabac and things like that. I did maybe forget, obviously, where we couldn't push the HRT right to the limits last season. Not suggesting that I'm getting this car anywhere near its limits either, to be honest, inside this game. But yeah, nice and easy then out of the final corner. Sebastian Buemi's done a 19.2. I've made quite a few errors on this run though, so a 21.1. But there's probably at least another 4 seconds to be had. And there goes the wing. That's not great. And of course, as always, the goal from Q1 is just to make sure that we make our way into Q2. But Fernando Alonso, he's done a 1:17.3, so that's a very good effort by the Ferrari man, who of course is still my biggest and closest championship threat so far this season. Well, again, that's obviously where we lost the wing last season around this venue, but quarter of a second down through Sector 1. Luckily though, I've only got a Red Bull this time around in front of me, so even hopefully on a cooldown lap, they're not going to be too slow. But obviously it's just about trying to keep the back end of the car underneath you. Really, really tricky. And obviously you don't want to short shift too much either. These things just don't have the torque of a modern F1 machine there. But to the inside, well, of Sebastian Vettel, who is once again just getting in my way. These AI, man. These AI are sometimes infuriating. Let's making our way through the end then of Sector 2. Will Seb actually move this time round? I mean, a little bit of yellow wing damage isn't the end of the world. And despite that, I'm still only a 10th down by the end of Sector 2. A little bit of front locking though as we make our way through that final corner. But yeah, we cannot afford to waste time in this first session. If we start right at the back of the grid, that is a disaster. That's quicker, though. 120.9. So somehow we've gone quicker than Timo Glock. Well, I've just seen on the mini-map, there seems to be a roadblock now going through the hairpins, so no idea what's happened a little bit further back, but this final run then. Yeah, Michael Schumacher having a pretty good session so far. Of course, took pole here, or would have taken pole here in 2012 had he not had some penalties, but that's more like it then as we make our way through the end of Sector 2. Are we going to be able to springboard our way right to the top of the pile? I just felt down in P13 we were still a little bit vulnerable, but I think we could be in for quite a mixed-up grid here as out of the final corner. It is going to be a 117 flat, straight to the top of the board. That's more like it. And there we go then. I was getting really worried through that session that we weren't going to make Q2 then and just have an absolute stinker of a weekend. But lap time's definitely slowly coming to us then as the session went on. 3/10 clear of Fernando, who was a further 3/10 ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Schumacher, quicker than both Red Bulls. And both Force Indias once again make their way into Q2. I mean, both Toro Rosso's looking good, both Lotus is looking good, Bruno Senna's made it through, so Karun Chandok out, both Williams out, both Sauber's out. Let's not forget, BMW Sauber have won a race so far this year, and then both Manamarusas right at the back of the pack. Well, now out then on a set of the Option tyres, hopefully we're going to have the speed just to immediately put ourselves straight through into Q3, but yeah, having 24 cars out on the track is really, really tricky around here. Obviously, just to kind of get the breathing space you need and obviously find the room, as once again, Sebastian Vettel, he's going to coast his way up the hill, and then as soon as I get there, he's just going to then immediately try and... I did not know the tyres made that popping sound when you put him in the wall. Yeah, maybe I just need to stay away from... Oh, Seb's binned himself! There you go, that might help us out then. Sebastian Vettel is going to be out of the session. He might not make Q3 with that lap. Well, after a little moment of madness then early on in this session, we are now back out there and we've still got more traffic in the way. Bruno Senna, I don't know if he's on a run or just kind of pootling back around towards the pit lane, but we are going to send it to his inside there, and luckily... I was about to say the AI will get out your way, but apparently not. I think this is an even bigger problem when we're in a quicker car this season. I just need to try and find some free track space. We've got the speed. It's just everybody is being a nightmare. Annoyingly, someone's collected the bollard as well down at the swimming pool chicane, so we're going to have to be really, really careful of that one then right towards the end of the lap. But come on, we need to try and push. Already 4 pole positions this season. First time we didn't line up on pole last weekend in Barcelona, and I'm hoping that we can immediately return to the top of the rostrum once again come the end of a Saturday afternoon then. Nice and tidy. Just hug the walls up through Casino Square and Massenet, and then as we plunge down the hill into Upper Mirabeau, feels like it's been a fairly decent Sector 1 time. Of course, we've got no Delta to chase at the moment, so I won't really get an idea as to how the lap time is looking, but we're just going to have to base it off of feel and make sure that obviously we are finding more speed there. Interestingly, Hamilton only on a 17.5, so he has improved. Fernando Alonso, though, clearly hasn't, because he's behind now Lewis, and obviously this is such a confidence-based circuit, such a confidence kind of relying on momentum there as 5 minutes left on the clock. Very, very, close to the wall there, even closer through there, as we once again just lose an end plate, but hopefully it's not going to make much difference there. Oh, we've gone through that bollard. Luckily, that time around, though, we'll get away with it, but this has felt like a fairly hooked-up lap time up to that point, though. Through the final corner, get the power down on the runs to the line. Is this going to be us dipping into the 116s? Yes, it is. 16.3. There you go. That sets down the gauntlet. Well, there we go. I wouldn't complain if that was our Q3 results in the end. Myself ahead of Felipe Massa, as Lewis Hamilton just ahead of Alonso and Jenson Button there. Schumi makes it through, so another brilliant effort by him. Mark Webber, Adrian Sutil, Viantonio Liuzzi, and Jaime Alguersuari just squeezed by there. Jarno Trulli, Buemi, Kovalainen, and Senna all going quicker than Sebastian Vettel, so it looks like his nightmare season is set to continue, but all it takes is one lap, and we could be on pole for the Monaco Grand Prix. Well, I really don't want to mess around here. I would just be quite happy if I can get one good, solid 116 in the car. A little mistake like that won't do us any favours. But yeah, this first run, once again, I'm a little bit worried we might be a bit too close behind Michael Schumacher. Hamilton is once again just finding a little bit more speed, though. He just seems to have steadily ramped up the pace so far this session, so I think his eyes are probably firmly focused on out-qualifying those Ferraris. But will he be able to try and challenge us? I mean, the only time someone else has been able to get a pole this season is when I've messed up qualifying. And so far, this first run of Q3 looks to be more of that. But if ever you are a little bit worried about the AI holding you up as you try and start a lap, this is a pretty good way to get away from them. Just completely cut that chicane. You can find yourself in a bit more kind of free space. Oh no, someone's binned it. Schumacher's gone. Where am I going? That's not ideal. I love this game. I absolutely love this game. Well, there is no more time for messing around then. We've got about 2 minutes left on the clock, so we've got 2 more opportunities if we want to claim the pole position here. If we don't get this one in, I would feel like it's been a session well and truly bottled, because quite clearly we've got the speed over everybody else. It is just like trying to avoid the AI shenanigans. So, skim that wall. Get away with that one, though, that time round. So it is a little bit inconsistent with kind of the way that works, but making our way down through the hairpin, then so much easier to take that on a wheel rather than on a controller. Just avoid that curb through lower Mirabeau as well, and out of Portier there, down into the tunnel, as you get to listen to that V8 engine scream as we head through, and then pop out into the sunlight on the other side there. Brake just before the 50-meter board. All careful not to connect with that inside wall, and then just roll on the throttle on the exit. Just a lift off through to back. Again, we just skimmed the black barrier there. That'll be that end plate gone, but we are really trying to push the limits at the moment. I think we've collected that bollard with the rear wheel as well, but surely this is going to be a decent lap. Surely this is going to be enough to put us on pole position for the Monaco Grand Prix. Is it going to be our 5th pole position of the year? Do I need to try and go for another run? 17.2. We go half a tenth quicker than Fernando, so I want to try and keep pushing just to see if he gets any quicker. Look at that, another 3 tenths up through Sector 1, so even if Fernando is finding time, we most certainly are as well. And of course, this was something that you could do. It wasn't that common, admittedly, but you could obviously go for, more than one run with a set of tyres. Obviously, put a little bit of extra fuel in the car, and you had the time. Obviously, you didn't have to worry about battery modes and things like that. I guess the only thing you have to be careful of as to whether the engine was going to overheat, but a big send through the chicane that time round. But I think we are steadily finding a little bit more time there. Down to 4th gear, just to avoid the outside wall through to back. And look at that, 7 tenths up now. Surely this is going to be the lap that I was hoping for here. Ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. Down in towards the final couple of corners. Connect with that inside curb just a little bit. Get the rotation through. Power down out of the final corner. We're already on the pole. How much will we improve by? Half a second. Well, there we go. We needed that, especially with Fernando Alonso looking so confident around this track as well. Hamilton will line up 3rd ahead of Felipe Massa, Jenson Button. Both Force Indias there in P6 and P7. Ahead of Schumacher, Webber and Jaime Alguersuari. I think just happy to make the show. We've got to try and hold off, though, at the start, because as we know, this game's AI are pretty good on lap 1.
We finished near the back of the field in the last race. We need to try and do better here. Get out there and show the boss what you're made of.
5 red lights then on the grid. Monaco Grand Prix is go there. We need to make sure that we get a good start on the run down in towards turn 1. A bit of a lock up there, but again, just about get the car slowed down as Hamilton, I think, has found a way around Fernando Alonso. They're going to be side by side as we make our way up the hill for the first time. Button as well. Seems like he has found a way around Felipe Massa, but a critical start then. Of course, my starts have definitely been one of my weak points so far this season, so we need to try and make sure that we hung on to the lead off of the start here in Monte Carlo then as we wind our way down the hill for the first time. Just settle down into a rhythm. It's all well and good having the pace, but got to make sure we've got the consistency as well around this circuit. It's Hamilton immediately trying to put us under some pressure, trying to see if he can force an error out of me early on in this GP. But let's just focus on getting into a rhythm. Like I said, Fernando Alonso dropping down to third, but he knows consistency is going to be key. Consistency is what will win world championships in this game as well. And obviously we suffered our first non-point score of the season last weekend. I do not want to suffer another one today there as we wind our way down through those final couple of corners, but it's been a pretty good lap one then. I think one of the real danger zones for us is going to be out of that final turn. Will Hamilton be able to get close enough? No, he can't that time. Of course, I'm so used to basing things off of the HRT last season. This thing is a whole lot quicker. There we go. Already then, got to be very, very careful with the track limits through turn one. But Hamilton already just, I mean, he is hounding us early on, trying to see if he can force that mistake out of me. I mean, this is going to be a race that takes up so much of my concentration. Commentating at Monaco is never the easiest thing in the world, but on this game, it is a whole different kettle of fish. As just obviously, I mean, it's that horrible balance of do you try and push and just build yourself up a little bit of a margin, or do you try and win this race in the slowest way possible? That was always Alain Prost's tactic. It worked fairly well for him. He obviously won 3 world championships. Four world championships. Ayrton Senna, though, was far more of the, you know, go all-out attack. That worked pretty well for him at Monaco most of the time. Obviously, had a couple of near misses as well around this circuit. But come on, let's just ease in. According to our engineer, then, Hamilton's meant to be pitting within the next couple of laps. So, I mean, surely people aren't actually going to two-stop here. Tyre wear already looks to be pretty bad, though, with someone who's clearly gone through the bollard down at the swimming pool chicane. But, yeah, I don't think I want to be two-stopping over the course of this afternoon as well. So, will be interesting to kind of keep an eye on what other drivers are going for. I can't remember how bad tyre wear was on the prime tyres last season, but I guess we're going to find out. Well, I wonder if it's just because you get so much less feel from the car as well on this game, but I very much find myself kind of getting more tunnel vision than maybe I do kind of racing around this circuit on a modern F1 title. I think it's just obviously because you know if the car moves around, it's going to be really, really bad, so you kind of have to drive well beneath the limits almost, but I mean, we're still setting 116s lap and lap.
Looks like it's going to be a lot.
So there you go, Hamilton and Alonso both apparently are meant to be pitting quite soon, but neither of them have blinked yet. Oh, there you go, Hamilton. Hamilton into the pit lane then, so he's going to be one of the first to blink in this GP, and will he be able to therefore make an undercut happen? I guess he's got to hope that he doesn't get held up behind some slower traffic, but already then immediately setting a 16-1. I've also made sure to bring the car down so it's only in standard revs. Normally I've been running it in rich revs, in the opening few rounds of this season, but obviously, oh no, after that, obviously, error, let's call it, out in Barcelona, I don't want to be taking the new front wing team. Please don't change the wing. I'm worried that they might do, though, so we've just got to keep pushing. Well, this wing damage is not really costing us performance, and I don't want to have to risk getting jumped by Lewis Hamilton, obviously, on that undercut, so I'm praying or that the team don't change the wing in this pit stop, though. Making our way into the pit lane. Make sure we get the car slowed down. Oh, I gotta make sure I brake super early, don't I? Oh, they're changing the wing. Why? For God's sake, man. I didn't need a wing change. The wing was fine, team. I don't know where Lewis Hamilton is. Luckily, we're not going to get held up in the pit lane either. But yeah, obviously got to make sure we nail the pit lane exit as well here. So it will be interesting to see where we come out. Oh, there is Hamilton, a couple of seconds ahead of us, so that has really not worked out too well. But as we make our way back onto the track, he could be further ahead. Well, there we go, more cars into the pit lane then. So this is, again, going to be a bit of a moment of truth. Obviously, tyre strategy, so important. Track position, absolutely everything here in Monte Carlo. So as we make our way through that final corner, Hamilton, I think, is going to be ahead of everybody. Are we going to filter out ahead, though? I can see that's a Ferrari, but it's only Massa. So Button now has got the jump on me as well then. The team is still suggesting I need to pit again. Not too sure what to make of that one. But yeah, Hamilton then is up to, obviously, effectively P3 now of the Grand Prix. Alonso still staying out there, as we've just got to make sure we keep the car underneath us at the very least. I want a podium today, but I really thought the win was going to be doable, as all Button almost puts himself in the wall as we make our way down the hill. So the AI taking some very different lines, but I almost feel like Daniel Ricciardo here. Obviously, team mess up the pit stop strategy right when I didn't want them to, and then Hamilton gets in front. And there you go, Fernando Alonso, one of the last drivers then into the pit lane. We have been taking good time out of him, but will we get the jump on Fernando then? Is it going to be a McLaren 1-2 here out of the final corner? I think it will be. There goes Fernando Alonso, and we should just about get out ahead of him. So I guess in the World Championship picture, whoa, that's not the end of the world. Just frustrating, because of course you want to try and win, you know, this race. If you got to pick any of them, it would have to be this race that everybody wants to win. But I feel like, yeah, we've just had a couple of little errors sneak in. So let's just refocus, regroup. You never know what might happen.
Hamilton should be due to pit within the next 2 laps.
Okay, team have just told me Hamilton's going to be pitting again then, so I mean, that would be hugely helpful if those McLarens are on a 2-stop. I don't believe they are. And often our engineer does lie on this game. He says someone's going to pit, and then they don't. So I'll take that with a grain of salt, but I also want to take that with some hopium. Well, the first part of this Grand Prix felt fairly calm, but since the pit stops, Hamilton, Button, Alonso and I have just been pushing each other to the absolute limit. That McLaren seems to be sitting beautifully around this circuit, but especially in the smooth hands of, well, with Jenson Button as well there. So he's really trying to hang Lewis Hamilton, and obviously seeing if he can get the lead of the Grand Prix for himself. I'm trying to keep Fernando Alonso at bay as well, but the gap has steadily been coming down to the Vodafone McLaren man as he is pitting. Lewis Hamilton back into the pit lane then, so that early stop earlier on has definitely hindered him here. We're going to be back up into P2. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if Button's going to pit again. I really hope he is. Of course, he did bin it here from the lead last year after claiming P1 off me at the start. So maybe he can do that again. But with the World Championship picture the way it is, if this was any other Grand Prix, I would take P2. I would quite happily just make sure that we bring the car home and bag the points. But, I mean, this is the Monaco Grand Prix. You don't know how many opportunities you're going to get to try and win this race. So, we are going to keep trying to push. But, Button, his pace seems to be sensational at the moment. Let's not forget, he could still end up being a championship threat as well. But I guess I've still just got to try and make sure that we keep Fernando Alonso at bay. Could Button pit? I doubt it. I'm pretty certain he's on a set of the primes as well. But if he does, I would certainly not complain. Oh, we've got yellows. We've got yellows. What's happened? Has Button binned it? He has. I think... Oh, I don't know whose wing that is. That could actually be a Renault. I feel like I saw some yellow and some red in that one. So I think that might be a Renault front wing rather than a Jenson Button front wing. But I guess there's red in the Vodafone logo. Maybe I can be optimistic still, but maybe it was just the car's hit the wall and has already retired. You just never quite know on this game. Well, I'm not a betting man, because if I was, I think I'd be putting my money on it was Vitaly Petrov that binned it in this Grand Prix, because he's just been holding up Jenson Button absolutely tremendously over these last couple of laps. I wasn't expecting us to have to deal with blue flags in this Grand Prix, but if we have to deal with some more of them and we're a bit closer to JB, there could be a real opportunity there. Just picking up a warning though for track limits, but the team's still trying to egg me on. As Button, well, it's no surprise that the AI crash around here quite a lot. Watching his lines are rather unorthodox, shall we say. Fernando Alonso, I think, is still getting held up by the Renault behind, because suddenly now we've got 3 seconds of breathing room. Oh, Jenson Button, a little wobble. Can we get down the inside? I'm going to have to send it. I wasn't expecting to there. But Jenson Button, he got held up behind Lucas de Grassi, and we've suddenly been able to capitalise there up the hill. We are back into the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. I cannot believe it. That's basically just happened out of nowhere in this race. I could see JB getting held up a little bit behind the Virgin. Just in front of him, made his way through and then just got out on the bumps through that next corner. So up finally, back into the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. I want to make sure I don't want to leave the car in cruise mix. Standard mix should be enough though towards the end of the afternoon, but yep, I'm not planning on pitting again, engineer. We will not be diving in between now and the end of this GP, because we are back to P1, finally, here in Monte Carlo. Now, we've just got to try and stay here. I mean, these lapped cars are such a nightmare here. I mean, I get penalised instantly when I was under blue flag last season. Why don't they get the same thing there as what Kubica trying to make his way out onto the back straight? But obviously be careful, because any little error and Jenson Button could immediately try and capitalise again. So just got to make sure we keep things clean and tidy behind these guys. I mean, where is JB? I don't know if he's getting held up a little bit more, but we've got the speed to lap these guys, or close up basically an entire lap on them. Surely we've got the speed to get around them as well. There is Kubica. Gets a little bit of a wobble. Let's try and think about getting a run to the inside. And again, he kind of opens the door, but won't let us squeeze by. Of course, you've got to be really careful as well, because this game loves to give you a penalty for some rather bogus bits of contact, as we saw back in Sepang. So obviously don't want to risk that. There was a 0% chance of rain for this Grand Prix. What on earth is happening? Late on here in Monte Carlo, team now suggesting that maybe intermediates could be the way to go as well. We're just going to dink the wall there again. Luckily, I've already damaged the front wing back on that side, so I don't need to worry about that. But Kamui Kobayashi, Timo Glock still in the way. Luckily now, because of all this, I'm putting a bit of breathing room. Yeah, well, they're clearly not, are they, engineer? But yeah, luckily all of this is probably screwing over Jenson Button worse than it is me at the moment. To the inside of Timo Glock, we will have to go down in towards the chicane there and just try and slide our way by Kobayashi in the wall on the exit. Where on earth are you going, Kamui? Is he going to give me room? Yes, he does. We will sneak by. And there we go. Clear space once again ahead of us. And luckily, no rain either. Oh, hello. Pedro de la Rosa. Very, very slow. Through that set of corners there, and I don't want to pick up any unnecessary warnings late on in the day. 2 more laps to go though here from Monte Carlo. Button still not able to find a way through some of that lap traffic, so we've got a 9-second lead now at the front of the order. We don't need to take any risk in these final couple of laps. We've just got to make sure we get this car home. Well, I'll be honest then, as this race, especially after the first round of pit stops unfolded, I honestly thought we were going to have to wait another year, another opportunity to try and win here in Monte Carlo, but I wasn't expecting the AI to help me win this one this afternoon, but I do feel for Jenson Button. He had been controlling the pace up at the front of the order. He had some sensational speed around this track, but ultimately one little wobble, one little hiccup is all it takes for someone behind to try and capitalise in the world of Formula 1 there. This has been a tough start to the season. Especially, obviously, with what happened at Barcelona. The opening 4 races felt pretty good, though. We saw 5 different winners from the opening 5 Grand Prix last season. We've seen 5 different winners from the opening 5 Grand Prix this season. Last season, it was Nico Rosberg that became our first repeat winner here in Monte Carlo. Well, rather weirdly and arguably disturbingly, we are wearing his gloves inside this game. But for the 2nd year in a row, Mercedes, it looks like they're going to come out on top here in Monte Carlo. We're going to become the first repeat winner of the season as well. We're going to extend the gap over Fernando Alonso in the Drivers' World Championship as well. I love coming back to Monte Carlo, and this is exactly why, through the final corner, it is going to be P1 in the race they all want to win. We have done it.
Brilliant! Brilliant! That's the double. All and the win. Oh, you legend.
Well, there we are then. Unfortunately, you know, I think the final gap does really not tell the full story this weekend. 12.7 seconds clear of Jenson Button. But ultimately, you know, he could have gone from 5th to 1st here with some brilliant strategy from the McLaren team. Fernando Alonso, though, picks up yet another podium in 3rd ahead of Adrian Sutil and Lewis Hamilton. The Antonio Liuzzi means once again Force India are able to pick up some big points there with Michael Schumacher in 8th. Just ahead of Mark Webber, Jarno Trulli gets Lotus some more points, and Bruno Senna as well doubles HRT's tally for the start of the season. Further down the order, Heikki Kovalainen narrowly misses out. It must have been a drag race between him and Seb Vettel on the run to the line. Karun Chandok ahead of Barrichello, Jaime Awaswari, and you can see De La Rosa, Kobayashi, Glock, Kubica, Hulkenberg, Degrassi, and Vitaly Petrov all one lap down. Just Felipe Massa and Sebastian Buemi who failed to see the checkered flag. World Championship-wise then, it means we've got a 21-point lead now ahead of Fernando Alonso, so want to keep trying to build that up as best as we can. Liuzzi still in 3rd ahead of Jenson Button as Adrian Sutil gets relegated down to P5, still ahead of Hamilton, Kobayashi, and Robert Kubica there, as you can see now, a 3-way tie on 33 points. Mark Webber down in 10th, still ahead of Vettel. Schumacher now up to 12th ahead of Petrov, and then you can see Buemi ahead of Kovalainen, and now it is just Lucas Degrassi that is yet to score a point. Constructors-wise, Mercedes, for the first time, I think, this season, we take the top step ahead of Force India, who are now 1 point clear of Ferrari, but 4 teams covered by just 15 points. It's safe to say this Constructors' battle could really be one to watch as well. Renault and Red Bull then tied for P5 and P6 on 51 points, ahead of BMW Sauber, Toro Rosso, Lotus still ahead of Williams, with Virgin and HRT. Let's head though, let's go do an interview before we wrap up this weekend.
A healthy 25 points for you and the team this weekend, and a great boost to your championship challenge.
Well, I honestly believe, you know, Mercedes, we have got a car capable of winning a Formula 1 World Championship this season. Of course, you know, we'll wait and see. The goal, of course, is to win 1 world title on all of the F1 games. But, you know, I want to try and make sure, of course, that if we need to get some contract offers from someone else, then we are going to be able to do so. Will this result give us a boost? If the team keep up their hard work, it will. Scoring points consistently is important, or it puts us in a better position to challenge. I think we're going to say if the team keep up their hard work,
With you taking the win and your teammate also making it into the points, the team have had a successful weekend. This bodes well for the Constructors' title, don't you think?
Well, like I said, I'm pretty certain this is the first time we've taken the lead in the Constructors' Championship. And I think we will say we're just taking it 1 race at a time, or I'll do my part, the rest is down to the team. Or I'm going to be pushing hard to take it now. I reckon we're going to go with that one.
Finishing in first place today, you cement your place amongst some of the true Monaco greats, such as Senna, Schumacher, Prost, Graham Hill, Moss and Fangio, to name but a few. This must be a very proud moment for you.
It certainly is, and obviously hearing all those names, the history, the importance of a Monaco Grand Prix here, I think we want to hype it up. I'm honoured to be named amongst such greats. Maybe hyping myself up a bit too much, but you know what? What's life without a bit of risk?
Hey Matt, great win last race. Well done.
Thank you, Agent there. Of course, next up we will be returning to Istanbul Park, so very much looking forward to that one next weekend as well. But yeah, Mercedes still absolutely thrilled with the way things are going this season. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, do please make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and yeah, we'll be back very soon then out. Back, yeah, at obviously the Istanbul Park.